Well, there has been plenty going on SmackDown in recent weeks, and at the top of it all seems to have been the Death Rider himself, Jon Moxley, who's been at war with Tommaso Ciampa since WrestleMania. Jon Moxley took to the opportunity to speak earlier today, saying that if Tommaso Ciampa was looking for someone to blame for why he's not WWE champion, he should really be looking in the mirror. In case he forgot, Moxley's not the champion either. That's Ricochet. But, just like Ciampa, he knows he's got a grudge to settle. Busting open Damian Priest, assaulting Jon Moxley, all the battles they've been through, and he knows that if they were here tonight, they'd go to war again. And they will keep going to war until Jon Moxley tastes the blood of Tommaso Ciampa and gets to put the black card away for good. And that's the end of that. But that was not all in terms of who we spoke to backstage. Earlier today we saw Hangman Page as well. He had his comments on what has been going on between Booker T and Big E. He doesn't understand why Big E is listening to Booker T and Apollo Crews. He knows that Big E is better than that. He shared the ring with him. He's fought him. He knows how good he is. And he knows that he shouldn't be listening or taking any advice from those two. And when speaking about Apollo Crews as well, he said that he knew that he was due a fight with him for him costing the match with Big E a few weeks ago. Whenever the time is, he's ready for Apollo Crews. He's ready for the bounty hunter. He's here on SmackDown to fight. The best, whenever, wherever. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter when. Hangman Page is here to fight. And it was those comments that caught the attention of Bobby Fish, the three-time WWE champion, making his way over to Hangman Page and saying that he was taking an inkling to what Hangman Page was saying. Commenting that himself and Heyman had been paying attention to Hangman for some time now, and what they saw within him was a man with a fire within him. But he didn't know how to make that fire burn. And he said he knew just the match needed to light that flame within Hangman Page and take him to the top. And that light, of course, was in the Dangerous Alliance. All Hangman Page had to do was offer out his hands, and Fish and Heyman could light the match and set Hangman Page on his way to superstardom. Hangman Page, however, wasn't too interested in that. He said he wasn't looking for a leader, he wasn't looking for a light, and he wasn't looking to anyone help light the match other than him. He doesn't want guidance, he wants a fight. And he wants to fight Bobby Fish. So he said, seeing as he's standing in front of him right now, and not Big E, and not Apollo Crews, then why don't you fight me, Bobby Fish? Fish's reaction seemed somewhere between surprised and disappointed in that of Hangman Page, but it was clear on the face of Fish, if it's a fight Hangman wants, it's a fight he will get. Well, now that we've covered all faculties of things that happened before the show went on the air, let's get this show on the air! Let's get the Rainmaker in the building! Because it's time to sign the contracts for the WWE Championship match at Backlash, where Kazuchika Okada and the Savior, Ricochet, will face for the WWE title. And just listen to the reaction in Philly tonight for Okada. The man seeking to become a three-time WWE champion. The man who said last week that he sees a lot of Ricochet in him. But what makes him better than Ricochet is that he's been there, he's done that, and he can do it again. But can anyone right now stop the Savior? And everywhere we go with this guy, there are those who support him and those who are against him. But of course, what is undeniable right now is that Ricochet is the WWE champion. He is on top of the world. And he has done everything that he said he would set out to do on his path to becoming WWE champion. Now it is his job to hold on to that WWE title. And to overcome, if he overcomes this, he's overcoming practically the toughest competition of his reign here on SmackDown. That being the face and the ace of SmackDown in Kazuchika Okada. But look at them here, face to face. The table separating them as a Ricochet and Okada look each other in the eyes and get the war of words in. Ricochet signing the contract right now, and Okada speaking to the WWE champion and commenting on the fact that, well, Ricochet's got sunglasses covering his eyes, so Okada can't look into the eyes of the WWE champion. Is that of fear? Is that of someone who's met their match? Or is that of ego? Okada seems to think it's not the case, that it's ego. And he is commenting as well to the reply from Ricochet, saying that Ricochet knows nothing about the Rainmaker. He hasn't learned his champion, and it's too late. He hasn't learned Okada, and Okada knows everything in the trick in order to bring that title back home. The ego of Okada has always been there, but the reality is he can back it up within the ring, and the Savior wants to do exactly the same here in response to Okada, talking about how he knows his moveset inside and out, the counters, how to counter them as well, how to catch him when he's vulnerable, and to make sure that he puts the Rainmaker away as well. Again, the idea of the Savior, the idea of everything that Ricochet is, it's about so much more than just a WWE Championship to him. It's about his crusade. It's about saving SmackDown, about cleansing the WWE, as he seems to say every single time he's out there. Whereas to Okada, it's about being WWE Champion for the third time. And Okada talking about how Ricochet called him one of the best. Well, he knows he's the best. He knows he's better than him. And he knows it's that belief within him that will lead him to that WWE title away once again. Because all he takes, all he needs is a Rainmaker to finish off Ricochet. That's interesting there from Ricochet, saying that the Rainmaker is actually the biggest weakness of it all. It's when he's at his most open and his ego is at the highest. And he seems as if he is poised in his mind to cleanse the Okada at Backlash and lead him to drown in the rain of his own making. Savior and Rainmaker face to face just days before Backlash. What will happen when the WWE Championship is on the line between these two men? It is going to be incredible! Ibushi, the Intercontinental Champion from behind an Okada, assaulting the Rainmaker. And Ricochet has that look about him, that body posterior. Oh my goodness, as if to tell Ibushi, you have more to do. And that's exactly what Ibushi has just set out to do, launching himself onto Okada, a mugging on the challenger. This has never usually been the operandi of the Saviors, but it seems to be what has transpired here tonight. Okada laid out. And here comes Keith Lee. Here's your challenger, Ibushi, and there go the Saviors, getting out of the ring, getting away from Keith Lee, and walking away to the crowd. Lee challenges Ibushi this Sunday. Okada challenges Ricochet. He's back up on his feet. They're staring down the champions. Could we be looking at the new Intercontinental Champion? And for the third time, could the Rainmaker stand tall in the WWE? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we caught it for a side-by-side interview with the two women who will compete on the pre-show of this Sunday's Backlash pay-per-view, that being Liv Morgan and Sasha Banks. With the opportunity to speak to one another for the final time before that event, it was Sasha Banks who would go first, asking, what is it about Liv Morgan that everyone really cares about? Why is it that people talk about Liv Morgan? And why aren't they talking about Sasha Banks? She's joined the Dangerous Alliance. She retired Trish Stratus at WrestleMania. She is the future of the women's division. And all everyone wants to talk about is the fact that one night on SmackDown, Liv Morgan walked up to her and got into her face. What has Liv Morgan really done around here to warrant that conversation and to warrant the time of the boss? Well, Liv Morgan said, why don't you look in the mirror? You're the one giving me that time of day. You're the one who's giving me the attention. You're the one who laid me out last week on the floor after my match. It seems as if you want this fight just as much as I do, Sasha. And if that's the case, you know at Backlash, you're going to get the Liv Morgan that everyone's been talking about. You're going to see why everyone has been bringing me up. When it's all said and done, you can watch me as Liv Morgan will have beaten the boss. Bold words from both sides heading into this Sunday where the pre-show of Backlash will take place, featuring Liv Morgan and Sasha Banks head-to-head. But right now, it's the in-ring debut here in the WWE of Grayson Waller, who this Sunday is seemingly teaming with no one. against MJF and EC3 for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. He says he has a surprise. He says he has a partner up his sleeve, but that partner has been nowhere to be seen. No hints have been dropped, no clues. What we do know is that Waller and EC3 got into it last week on SmackDown. And that is where this fight has come about here tonight as a result of it. Waller, if he has got this tag team partner of his, once again, he's nowhere to be seen. He's nowhere at ringside, nowhere in the crowd that I can see of. Grayson Waller going in alone, and EC3 continuing on from where last week left off, going straight after Grayson Waller here. EC3 has got a lot of anger in him. Of course, it all stemmed from the fact that, as we saw last week on this show, it was EC3 who interrupted, shall we say, Waller and MJF, who seemed to be having a conversation backstage with one another. We don't know about what. The cameras never picked it up, and neither side has dared to comment on it either. EC3 knows basically about as much as we do as well, from what we've gathered from asking around, and it seems if EC3 is in no interested mind to ask what was said. He just wants to put the hurt on Grayson Waller here tonight instead. Double-handed choke bomb there, cover on Waller, shoulders down, kick out of 2 from Waller there, who is really on the back foot, just being jumped from behind by one half of the tag team champions. You know, if you're Waller's tag team partner that he alludes to have, surely right now would be a great time to try and make your appearance known. Because your tag team partner this Sunday is getting his ass handed to him right now. Oh, there we go, maybe turning things around here. Waller finally getting a little bit back, kicking the leg, nicely done, into a cradle, shoulder pinned down. Waller wants to get out of this, it seems, and he only gets the count of 1 there on EC3. Vertical basis, lariat, no one home, strength of EC3, shutting him through again. Also interesting, I mean, I know he jumped him, but no MJF to be seen of right now either. And he seems to be right in the center of this thing, because it was, of course, Waller and MJF talking, as I mentioned, that got the fire within EC3 last week. Seems to be walking both sides quite nicely. Nice drop kick there from to EC3, and speak of him, here he is. MJF out on the ramp, getting in the face of Waller and providing the distraction, it seems, for EC3 to capitalize. Neck breaker from behind. Things are not looking good for Grayson Waller here. Drives him down into the mat head first, and look at this. MJF standing behind EC3. The 2 tag team champions looking on top of the world. Their ego shining through. Oh! EC3! He moved out of the way. MJF caught the brunt of it. 1% to Waller. And it seems as if EC3 wants to do more damage for his tag team partner being taken out, but MJF is walking off. A second 1% to connect, but MJF walking far away and out of shot as EC3 puts away Grayson Waller. Well, that is certainly interesting. EC3, well, rather dominant winner here tonight, but MJF having none of it. Walking away right there and then, and EC3 not giving him a second check either. We knew the ego was within perfect, was high as ever, and it seems as if they may have butted heads there on that miscommunication. But what we do know is that EC3 is victorious, and Waller's looking in trouble heading into this Sunday. But speaking of being in trouble, earlier today, Cody Rhodes was at the end of a meet and greet that he had set up here in the parking lot of the arena here that's hosting SmackDown tonight, that he is thanking all the crowds for coming out and signing all the autographs. When the Switchblade, Jay White, would assault him from behind in White's first appearance since coming up short to the Rainmaker at WrestleMania. White would lay the assault onto Cody Rhodes using whatever he could find around him, be it rented cars or the ambulance here provided by the arena, before laying out Cody Rhodes on the parking lot concrete floor itself. Not a word was issued from Jay White as to why he did what he did to Cody Rhodes, but all we know is the Switchblade is back on the scene, and that is bad news for anyone. So much as always going on here on SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen, and next week in the first SmackDown post-Backlash, there'll be plenty more going on. Hangman Page and Bobby Fish will collide, as we alluded to earlier. Tessa Blanchard, the former Raw Women's Champion, debuts on SmackDown, and in our main event next week, it will be the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus the Switchblade Jay White. It is all going to be interesting things on what could be a very interesting SmackDown at the Backlash. But we haven't had a moment to talk about it tonight because it's been so hectic. It is a big main event. The SmackDown Women's title is up for grabs. It is a submission match. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler, who leaves with the gold. This grudge that is built up to WrestleMania was not settled within the confines of the grandest stage of them all. Will be settled here tonight. With the SmackDown Women's title up for grabs, Becky Lynch wants to become a 5-time Women's Champion. She said it should have been hers at WrestleMania, and arguably she was right. If not for Shayna Baszler exposing the turnbuckle and the referee's error of not catching the Lynch's feet were in the ropes, we saw that she made Baszler tap on the ramp in Raymond James Stadium. And she went hunting for a rematch, and she got it here tonight. Submission match made by the SmackDown General Manager Shawn Michaels. Lynch, Baszler, the only way to win is by one of these two women tapping out and admitting that the other is the better. But who will it be is the answer that we're looking for. And the question, well, it'll definitely be answered by the end of tonight. You feel as if this thing has to end between these two, for all the bad blood that has been spilled, for all the war of words, for the fact that WrestleMania didn't resolve it. You feel as if it has to end here tonight. Baszler has been on a seeming warpath since winning that SmackDown Women's Championship, since retiring Paige to win it as well. And of course, who did Paige win that SmackDown Women's Championship from? Becky Lynch. It all comes full circle here tonight for these two women that have seemed destined to collide for a long time. Even before WrestleMania, when Baszler was a dominant force in NXT on her way to becoming the final NXT Women's Champion. It has just felt that these two are meant to be at the top of their division, even respective divisions. But they are in the same division now, and they are fighting for the same prize. The Queen of Spades wants to keep it. The man wants to hold it for a 5th time. No pinfalls in this one. It is just about making your opponent tap out. And Philly is willing the man on in this one. Baszler knows that she is in unwelcome waters here. She knows that the crowd, as it was at WrestleMania, is on the side of Becky Lynch. But as she has done for so long, it is the job of Shayna Baszler to silence everyone, to put all of her critics away, and to put her opponents to sleep. She has put Becky Lynch in that Ace of Spades clutch before. If she does it again here tonight and Lynch taps, there is no denying that Baszler is at the top of her game. And then if she beats the man here, it is all she wrote for Lynch's quest for number 5 for another time. The fight is underway. And let's get things going. And you can see that the bad blood is just built up since WrestleMania. The actions, the antics, the fight is just continuing on since the grandest stage of them all, and it is all set to come to a head here this evening in a headlock there, and just driving her fist into the face of Becky Lynch. Early submission here by Shayna Baszler. Ankle lock, it seems. Oh, she great minds around it. Locks her legs around it early going here. Lynch feeling the pain of it already. Shayna Baszler wants to get things going early. She wants to try and put away Lynch as early as she can, but Lynch, having none of it, turns it over, hammers away on the knee there of Shayna Baszler. You know, while these two certainly have submission capabilities, of course, the disarmer versus the Ace of Spades clutch, the reality is that Shayna Baszler is probably at more of an advantage in this contest than Becky Lynch, because you have to remember, Baszler, before she was a wrestler, she was a part of MMA. One of the 4 horsewomen of MMA, alongside the likes of Ronda Rousey. That's what has to be remembered, and that's what might give Baszler the advantage here, is that when it comes to this kind of ground fight thing. She has the advantage over Lynch, but Lynch proving a point there with that leg takedown into the STF. Didn't follow up on it, but just wanted to show Baszler, I can take you down, I can put you in a hold. So don't you think that you are just completely in control over me in this contest, as Baszler hits a nice over-the-shoulder bomb there, and the confidence is reigning within the Queen of Spades thus far. But if I was Baszler, I wouldn't get too confident. I wouldn't show my cocky side too soon, because you have to remember, they tapped out at WrestleMania. You have got a point to prove here tonight. You have not only got to beat Becky Lynch, you have got to silence her. You've got to put her away. You have got to show that there is no one who is on the level of the Queen of Spades. Becky Lynch, of course, wants to prove that she should have been the champion at WrestleMania, and that there is nothing stopping her from holding on to that title for a 5th time and showing why Big Time is the best in the world in the women's division. Look at the risks she's willing to take. Exploder there from the top turnbuckle, and a chinlock applied after it. Knee dug in the back. Will Baszler have to admit the title's over? Far from it. She gets herself out of trouble right there and then. Collar elbow tie-up, breaks it, kicks at the leg, forearm shots, quick and fancy from Shayna Baszler into a full mount. Palm strikes, captures the arm, armbar. And she stretches. This is big trouble for Becky Lynch. That combination opened her up. The arm is being stretched. Will it be pulled out of socket here? Oh no, Lynch is able to turn it over. Great work there from Lynch to escape that hold. Wait a minute. Lynch, manhandle slam! That certainly came out of the blue. But she doesn't look to capitalize just yet. She doesn't look for the disarmer. Probably because she knows she's far from being able to put away Shayna Baszler in this thing. Baszler spills to the outside after that kick, and the fight just carries on out of the ring here. No countouts in this affair. Referee knows that he has to end it by submission. Oh, snake eyes. Heavy knee in the head there though by Shayna Baszler. Spear follows up after it, and down goes Lynch. Trying to pull herself up to her feet as soon as she can there, but Shayna Baszler having none of it. Sending Lynch into the apron here. Even though this is a submission match, this has the feel of that street fight that we saw on Monday Night Raw between The Miz and Jay Lethal. Just has that feeling of all the meanness about it, of all the anger. But of course, this is about more than just a grudge being settled. This is about a title that's up for grabs. This is about standing at the top on SmackDown, and maybe even within women's wrestling right now. Lynch is in trouble. Baszler has her. Dumps her down. There's no life within Lynch in this moment. And Baszler will capitalize. Oh, that is a nasty looking hold. Look at the way that arm is not supposed to bend that way. Baszler trying to almost make that arm pop, make the elbow pop out of socket here, and force the tap out of Becky Lynch. Lynch just trying to hold on within this thing as best she can. Don't stretch out the arm, Lynch. Oh, maybe psyching out Baszler there. She let Baszler stretch her arm out, that she was able to use it to escape her way out of the hold. Clinical thinking for Becky Lynch. Will she capitalize? Yes! Disarmer! Oh, Baszler before the hold was even locked in, stretched to the ropes to get herself out of that hold. Does that show fear though? Does that show fear within Baszler, that if she's locked in that hold again, she worries that that could be it? It could be the end of her reign if she's in the disarmer again. Oh, what a dump from the top rope! They have gone out with all the bad blood that you would expect between these two. All the hatred that you might come to find from two hated rivals. Double gut-wrench suplex there. Absolutely nothing nice about it by Baszler. He now takes to the top rope. Elbow drop down on Lynch. Lynch was unlucky that she was so close to the ropes there, because it is going from bad to worse. Here's that cutter. Once again, she's driven into the mat. Lynch is in huge trouble. And if this gets locked in, it might be all she wrote. Is it time? Ace of Spades clutch. Legs wrapped around. Arm under the chin. Lynch might be fading here. Baszler might be about to hold on to a SmackDown Women's title. Lynch trying to roll onto his side. She elbows. She breaks free. Lynch with all the fight in her breaks free. Manhandle slam in this one again. There was a look in Lynch's eyes for a moment there as if to say that she was fading, that she was gonna certainly not tap out, but pass out. But she has found the fire of life within her. For all the talk that the man has illustrated about wanting to be at the top of this division. And she wanted to prove it, but Baszler takes it down again. Was that final bit of fight within Becky Lynch exhumed there by Shayna Baszler, just being able to weather the storm. In the corner goes Lynch. It's going from bad to worse for the challenger. Baszler has her right where she wants her. The champion in the driver's seat and driving the knee into the face. If Lynch still wants to be champion, she needs to do something now. She runs through her. She runs through Baszler. Oh, but she's too tired. Spear. A final gasp before the lights go out. She fought out of one, and she'll deny the second. Backsplex. Incredible. If that had gone locked in, there was no doubt about it in my mind that it was over. But Lynch has hung on. And she's sending Baszler for another ride from Mile High. Backsploder from the top. Elbow. She took her best shots. She hung on. And she fights, as always. Manhandle slam from Becky Lynch. No ropes to save you now, Baszler. Disarmer. The disarmer is locked in. Baszler can see the ropes, but she's nowhere near them. She's so far away, and she is done for. For the 5th time in her career, Becky Lynch is champion. The drive for 5 is completed. The grudge has been settled. The head of Shayna Baszler slapped the mat, and with it, her title slapped away from her grasp and into that of the man. Becky Lynch, big time, back on top of women's wrestling, your new SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch.